There you go.
Are we ready to begin?
Did you hit the power button? Go button?
Yeah.
All right, we're ready.
All right. To the ladies and gentlemen of the jury, and our real parties of interest in this case, the Brown family, the Goldman family, and the Simpson family, a good morning. I think it is a fair assumption to make the case that our job up here is one of the hardest that we can do here. But I think your job today is going to be a little bit difficult. But our jobs are pretty similar. It is a very central focus, and that focus is justice. We are all called here today to resolve an issue, a question if you will. Did OJ really kill Nicole Brown and Ronald Goldman? Well, today, ladies and gentlemen, we stand here before you ready to answer that question. The answer to this question is yes. The evidence that we will present you today will overwhelmingly answer that question. OJ murdered Nicole Brown and Ronald Goldman. But why would he do it? Not OJ Simpson, the beloved and very talented football player, the man who played for the USC, who played in the Rose Bowl, and who won a Heisman Trophy, one of the best running backs in the entire NFL history. But I'm here, ladies and gentlemen, to tell you that we've all been seeing is just a mere public face. It is not the actor who's on trial today. It is not the football player who is on trial today. But it is the other face, the one that is hidden from view, this private face. The evidence presented to you today in this trial will show you that the man you see today is not one of an amazing football player or beloved actor, but the man you will see today is the face of a wife beater, an abuser, and a controller. Today, you will see the face of Ronald Goldman and Nicole's murderer. That was the slide you were supposed to be on, dummy.
Hey,
Oh, well.
hey, don't talk on the client like that.
You can't talk, can't cross talk.
What do you see when you see the American dream? Someone who's built himself up, built an empire, a man who has truly gone above and beyond, someone who has led a legacy for his beautiful children. And although his circumstances in this are rash, what could he have done? This man is an MVP. He was an actor. He was in The Naked Gun, man. Leslie Nielsen, come on. It's a good movie. Why would he do these things? The case brought up today against my client, Warrenthal James Simpson, is an insult to you, ladies and gentlemen, that you have to be brought here on this gloomy day because two people tragically died, and this man is just lined up so tightly that for some reason it just looks way too big. So, to continue this, let's talk about saturation. We're not here for just a bunch of hokey dokey tons of stuff. Why? Why would you want to hear so much stuff when we can get to the meat of what needs to be said? Why bring up way too much evidence that doesn't really even matter in the facts? And I like to think of it, instead of like a pancake or two sides of a coin, I don't like too much creamer in my coffee or sugar. I want coffee. I want the strength of it to wake me up, to actually build me up to the decision you all will have today. So with that, let the saturation begin.
A red sun rises, blood has been spilled this night. There was multiple pieces of blood evidence found across the crime scene at Nicole Brown's house. Blood found on O.J. Simpson's sock, which was found in his home after an investigation, was found to have a 1 in 21 billion % chance that the blood came from someone other than Nicole Brown. Bloodstains found within O.J. Simpson Bronco, matching Nicole Brown's, Ron Goldman, and O.J. Simpson's. There was also additionally bloodstains found around O.J. Simpson's driveway. This blood also matched that of Ron Goldman, Nicole Brown, and O.J. Simpson. O.J. Simpson also had a cut wound on his hand that he claimed was from broken glass. These wounds looked identical to nail marks claimed by Dr. Spitz, a forensic pathologist.
It's hard to keep a secret when it's written on your body. When OJ was questioned about this, he gave two different responses. and different opposing accounts about the cuts. In an interview with the police the day after the killings, he said he cut his finger the previous night when he was trying to rush out of his house to make a flight to Chicago. Yet, during his pretrial disposition, he gave a completely different account. He says he suffered the lacerations when he broke a drinking glass in the Chicago hotel room after learning from the police that his ex-wife had been killed. Dr. Werner Spitz had pointed out that when he had noticed these cuts, they were jagged edged and 3 curved wounds measuring up to about 2¼ inches. These were identical to nail marks he had seen in previous victims, he says, when he was looking at Simpson's left hand. When love was suppressed, hate takes its place. So, why would he do it? I mean, he had everything, right? Well, Nicole wrote about 60 occasions when they were together that Simpson had allegedly physically or verbally abused and threatened her during their stormy marriage. In scratchy handwriting, she wrote about how her first beat-up was in 1978. He had punched and kicked her in their hotel room for hours while she tried to escape. These diaries were actually found in Nicole's safe deposit box, along with photos of her bruised face and apology letters from Simpson. These are the bruises that they allegedly say. Go back. These are the bruises that she allegedly say she caused herself. Now, I know that might not make a lot of sense until I provide some context into their relationship.
What do you want me to do?
Go back.
What?
Go back
Huh?
to that slide.
What?
No crosstalk.
After being tired with the way that Nicole had been treated constantly, she takes her kids and she leaves Mr. Simpson in early January of 1992, 2 years before this crime happened. This was done with little notice, and Nicole gets her own house in Brentwood on Gretna Green and starts a new life for herself away from Simpson. But Mr. Simpson acts in a very peculiar and strange manner. Even his friends have spoken out that they were a little embarrassed by the way he acted and the way he held himself. When it happened, his obsessiveness was kind of shown. He grew out of control. His pursuit for Nicole grew out of control. He phoned friends and family constantly, discussing how he could get her back, all the while wanting to know where she was, what she was doing, who was she with. Prior to 1992, though, Mr. Simpson would socialize with the Browns, and he and Judy Brown, who was Nicole's mother, were on some pretty friendly terms, you know. But there wasn't really anything special about the relationship, just kind of nice friends. However, after Nicole left Mr. Simpson in January of 1992, the defendant started calling Mr. Brown, or Mrs. Brown, just about every single day. Many cases, multiple times per day. Could be up to 6 or 7 times a day. Discussing Nicole, wanting to know why she left him, what did he do, wanting to know how he could get her back, where was she, what was she doing, which kind of to me seems a little controlling. And to top along with this, there was a recent case after the incident of 1989 in which Mr. Simpson was found guilty of a domestic violence charge with his spouse, Nicole Brown. Their relationship became very shaky. It was obvious that OJ loved her very much, and he needed and he craved her. But all the while, Mr. Simpson was about to work through the struggle and the portion of the relationship when she had left him. Nicole began to see other men in the May of 1992. Mr. Simpson, soon enough, began to start dating someone else named Paula Barbary. The obsession slowly began to fade, and the imminent divorce between Mrs. Brown and Mr. Simpson finally came in October of 1992. Throughout the next 2 years, the relationship became on and off. They dated a while, and they didn't. Usually their dates ended in terrible accidents and bitter arguments. Let's see. During one of their dates in 1993, the argument became so bad that Miss Nicole was forced to call 911, as you can see in our link that we will show you soon. Fortunately, during the whole incident, Nicole was never struck by Mr. Simpson, as she stays on the phone with 911 operators until the police arrive.
What?
People say different ways.
It's kind of weird you'd say 9/11.
Very just weird.
Continue.
I dare you bring up that charge.
Thank you.
You'll have-
Even after this entire incident, they actually stay together. On Saturday of May 8th, Mr. Simpson drove down to Laguna to keep a date with Nicole that evening, but this too ended in its last bitter argument. The next day, Miss Brown says the tension was extraordinary between the two. It was very uncomfortable in the situation the entire day. May 9th also sparks the date that OJ begins to date Paula Barbary again. On May 22nd, Justin, the younger of his two, decided to have a picnic held at Rockingham. After the picnic, Nicole returns with the children to Bundy, and Mr. Simpson comes over. A heated argument breaks between the two of them once again, and at this time, Nicole gave Mr. Simpson the bracelet back he had given her 3 days earlier, and also gave him back a very expensive pair of diamond earrings. Her favorite earrings, and told him it was over. They were done. She wanted nothing to do with him anymore. She wanted him out of her life for good. No more games, no back and forth. It was over. After 2 years, they had separated completely. This was the second time Nicole had rejected Mr. Simpson. After hearing this shortly, Mr. Simpson decided to call Judy Brown, Miss Nicole's mother, just like he had done in the prior occasion as well. Right after this, Nicole had left him, but this time it was different. It was a short phone call to say to Judy, "She's leaving me again, Judy." Judy indicated that she knew. What Mr. Simpson said to her, as he says, "Judy, I know this is the first time. I know the first time it was my fault, but this time it's gonna hurt." These were the last words that Miss Brown heard from Mr. Simpson until after she found her poor girl, Nicole Brown, dead.
Now are we continuing? Okay.
Are we allowed to click on the link or no?
Yeah, you can show
Can you
me.
please click on
Go
the
back
link?
to your
Is there anything people need to?
This is a 911 phone call. 911 phone call. How about that? Is it gonna be able to?
Now to 325 Gretna Green. He's back. Please. Okay, what does he look like? He's O.J. Simpson. I think you know his record. Could you just send somebody over here? Okay, what is he doing there? He just drove up again. He just drove me over. Okay, wait a minute. What kind of car is he in? He's in a white Bronco. But first of all, he broke the back door down to get in. Okay, wait a minute. What's your name? Nicole Simpson. Okay, is he the sportscaster or whatever? Yeah. Okay, thank you. Wait a minute. We're sending police. What is he doing? Is he threatening you? I'm going nuts. Okay, has he threatened you in any way, or is he just harassing you? You're going to hear him in a minute in the back of your station. Okay, just stay on the line. I don't want to stay on the line. He's going to beat the shit out of me. Wait a minute, wait. Just stay on the line so we can know what's going on until the police get there, okay? Okay, Nicole? Uh-huh. Just a moment. Does he have any weapons? I don't know. Okay. He went home, now he's back. My kids are upstairs sleeping, and I don't want anything to happen. Okay. Has he hit you today, or no? No. Okay, you don't need any paramedics or anything? Okay. You just want him to leave? My door. He broke the whole back door in. And then he left and he came back? And he came and he practically knocked my upstairs door down, but he pounded it, and then he screamed and hollered, and I tried to get him out of the bedroom because the kids were sleeping in there. Okay. And then he wanted somebody's phone number, and I gave him my phone book, I clicked my phone book down to write down the phone number that he wanted, and then he took my phone book with all my stuff in it.
The dispatch.
What?
It's trying to stop anyone.
It seems like credibility of
Right, that was the 9/11 call.
Okay.
Alright.
Horrifying stuff. I know.
Your Honor.
I know it'll take you a minute to process what you just heard here. A pure hand needs no glove to cover it. The left hand of the left-hand pair of a bloody glove was found at Nicole Brown's house during the investigation into the murders of Nicole Brown and Ron Goldman. The right-hand pair to this glove was found within OJ's home. Both gloves are XL aerosol gloves. a glove that Simpson has been wearing since 1990. He often uses this for when he goes out goes clubbing. Richard Rubin testified that only 200 pairs of this XL Aris light gloves were ever made. 200. Additionally, he testified that they were the same model of gloves that Iwaji had worn before since 1990.
Are you calling me a murderer? Well, if the boot fits. O.J. Simpson wears a size 12 Bruno Magli shoe. These bloody size 12 footprints were found outside the house, or outside the home of Nicole Brown's house. The bloody shoe impression was on the carpet of O.J. Simpson's Bronco and were consistent with the Bruno Magli shoe as well. Blood drops were found near footprints matching O.J. Simpson's blood. This is about a 1 in 9.7 billion chance that the blood was not O.J.'s, as testified by Dr. Robin Cotton, sorry. I meant Cotton. According to the civil suit prosecutor, Daniel Petroselli, only 299 pairs of these Bruno Maglis had ever been sold at the time the murder happened in the United States. Only 9% of the population wore this specific size 12. And, if I can pull it up.
You're on the shoulders, man.
Which one?
Find it yet, sir?
Only about 9% of the population wore the shoe. And in the civil trial, O.J. actually lied about owning this shoe. When finding about if this was a shoe, 18 characteristics matched that of O.J. Simpson's shoe with the distinct characteristics of the Bruno Magli Lorenzo style shoe. The angles, the heel, and the waffle pattern of the sole and the deep stitching grooves are a few. I don't know if you can see right here, but there's a deep stitching groove. Using the footprints and the characteristics shown in this said footprint, FBI Special Agent William Bodziak was able to cross-reference the characteristics and find out that the shoe used was Bruno Magli Lorenzo style. Now, in the civil trial, O.J. lied about this. He talked about, aesthetically, I felt they were ugly. People have their own entitlement to what looks good, I guess. I know, I never would have worn those ugly-ass shoes, unquote. Yet, when produced, a photograph of which Simpson is clearly wearing Bruno Magli shoes while attending a September 26, 1993 Buffalo Bills football game, as shown right here. These are the same shoes as this.
Who's that guy? Who's that guy?
Probably a manufacturer.
You done?
Let your hair do the talking. Strands were found at the crime scene on specifically Ron Goldman's shirt that matched or resembled O.J. Simpson's. Additionally, they were also found on a cap in Nicole Brown's home. Cotton fibers from the carpet on O.J. Simpson's white Bronco, as previously mentioned in the 911 call, were also found on. Additionally, blue and black fibers were found around the crime scene, which I know doesn't mean much right now, but when we get to the testimonies, I'd like you to consider.
Running away is never going to set you free. After police suspicion of O.J.'s involvement in the murder of Nicole Brown and Ronald Goldman, Simpson decided to run from the LAPD in his Ford Bronco, driven by his friend Al Collings. He was found with a pistol, passport with $9,000 in cash, and a disguise to hide himself. During his trial, O.J. refused to take the stand and testify in his defense, and also combated with contradictory statements made by his injuries and whereabouts during the murder of Nicole Brown and Ronald Goldman. It's conclusive to deduce that something is going on, and O.J. could have potentially had some level of involvement. We can talk about it first and we can call him up afterwards.
Now we will go to our testimonial evidence. First, we'll start off with Jeff Stewart, who testified that he heard O.J. Simpson confess while in the Los Angeles County Jail to his friend and turned minister, Rosie Greer. Rosie Greer testified that the talking was confidential and refused to talk about what was discussed.
All right. Our next witness is Richard Rubin. Richard Rubin testified that the gloves that O.J. wore for golf were the same model as the gloves that they found. Stated that only 200 pairs of the XL Aris light gloves were ever made.
Well, let's go to the scene of the crime here. We have two witnesses here that were both around the area where the murders took place and could testify to the location of O.J. Simpson during the crime. From 10:22 p.m. to 10:30 p.m., Alan Parker, who was the limousine driver meant to go take O.J. Simpson to the airport on the night of the murders, did not see him or his white Bronco at his home. For reference, the murders, according to the coroners, took place between 10:15 p.m. and 10:40 p.m. He buzzed Simpson's intercom multiple times to get his attention to see if he was in the house or to figure out where his location was. In each of his 3 attempts, he got no response. At 10:54 p.m., right after the murders, he sees a man about 6 feet tall walk across the driveway of Simpson's home in dark clothing.
Cato Kalin. So Cato Kalin was a friend and eventually roommate of O.J. Simpson. So they got to kind of know the business of what was happening between him and Nicole. Well, Kalin testified that they saw O.J. wearing a dark sweatsuit at around 9:36 to 9:30 p.m. He testified that O.J. told him and had complained about the night before about the murders of Nicole, that Nicole was withholding information or visitations to his daughter. He never saw or heard O.J. ever chipping golf balls at all.
Which was an excuse given, or alibi given by O.J. Simpson for where he was during the murders.
How do you want to do it at witnesses?
Up to you.
Bring them up?
Up to you.
Do you want him to just bring them up?
Up to you, sir.
Yeah.
Okay. We're going to start with Cade.
Aren't you forgetting? Sorry.
Huh?
Are you gonna speak on this man?
He wasn't really a witness, but this is Charles Cale. Charles Cale testified that he did not see O.J.'s Bronco between about 9:30 p.m. and around 9:45 p.m. That it was just missing while walking his dog near Simpson's home. Well, I call to the stand Jeff Stewart.
Take one of the stools and put it up there.
Let the man sit.
Yeah.
He was grabbing them.
Do you swear that all testimony you're about to give is the truth?
Yes, ma'am.
The truth, and nothing but the truth.
Yes, Your Honor. It's not this.
Yes, you are. We're in a courtroom. All right. Could you please state the name for the jury?
Jeff Stewart.
Could you state your occupation in the court?
I'm a deputy sheriff for the Los Angeles Sheriff's Department.
What did you hear while you worked at the Los Angeles County Jail?
When working at the Los Angeles County Jail, I overheard Orthanol James Simpson and Rosie Greer talking to one another, and I heard Orthanol James Simpson state, "I didn't mean to do it."
All right, no further questions.
Thank you.
Would you like to question? And you just get so.
Excuse me, we're
Oh,
not.
you've got to be cross-examined by the
Oh.
defense.
Defense gets an opportunity.
I don't know. How many questions?
How many
Because-
more?
What time is it? Oh,
Yeah.
10 minutes. Good.
Alright. Please state your occupation and name.
I'm your sheriff's deputy for the Los Angeles County Jail.
Los Angeles County Jail. Are you aware of potential police corruption in the 1990s?
No, sir.
No, sir. Okay.
Is there any prejudice towards O.J. Simpson?
No, sir. I thought he was an absolutely great football player and actor.
Alright. So, who is Rosie Greer in this situation?
I would say that in this situation, Rosie Greer is a friend that came to visit Orthanol James Simpson when he was in holding, and during holding or visitation, anything that is said by a defendant can be used as evidence, as from what I've heard.
Mm-hmm. Alright. And would you say that Rosie was a minister?
Prior to this, I did not know that Rosie was a minister.
Alright. Now that you do you as an American citizen believe that everyone has the freedom of religion?
Yes, sir.
And do you think it should be held sacred, even in a county jail, with an innocent man?
Everyone is entitled to their own religion, and whether it be sacred or not.
Alright. Any more?
No, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Stewart.
One.
Richard?
And I call to the stand Richard Rubin.
Excuse me, sir.
Suffer.
It is the lights.
Rebecca Ruby. We call to the stand Rebecca Ruby.
Okay, thank you.
What's
Alright.
up with you?
Could you please state to the jury in the court your name and your occupation?
I am Rebecca Ruby. I was the vice president and general manager for Eris Isotoner for 14 years during the periods of 1976 and 1990. I was responsible for the design, manufacturing, production, raw materials, sales, and marketing for all men's gloves.
Well, was there a model or style of glove that you shipped to Bloomingdale exclusively at all?
Yes,
Do you happen to remember which model that was?
yes, it was 70263.
There should be a slide off gloves up there, like picture of gloves. Could you please take a look up at the board and tell me if you recognize any of those gloves?
Yes, I recognize them all.
I take it you've seen just about every model that's ever been produced since you began working at the company, is that correct?
Yes, I've seen every single model that Eris has produced. The company is 80 years old, and I've seen all of them produced till 1990.
So, could you throw the gloves up here at me? I didn't know if we were going to make it to the witnesses or not, so I didn't know. Both of them.
Evidence. Ugh.
Tampering?
Jeez.
Let me show you the glove that was presented in court today. The Rockingham glove. Is this the glove that we showed you earlier today?
Yes, it is.
Looking at the glove, can you tell us which style or model this glove is?
That is the right-hand style of 70263.
Left.
Really? How can you tell that?
Well, it's exclusive to Bloomingdale's and is only manufactured and distributed to them. The particular sewing and the weight of the cashmere lining, as well as the leather and the vent into the palm. It's no other style except for 70263.
Have you ever seen it sold or even anywhere else in the world other than Bloomingdale?
No, it's exclusive only to Bloomingdale.
Let me show you all another glove. The Bundy glove. This is the glove. Is this the glove that I showed you earlier today?
Yes, it is.
And looking at this glove, can you tell us the style of this glove?
It's the left hand of 70263.
Now, is there anything special about the weight of the leather of this glove?
Yes, it's 30% lighter than men's wet leather and 10% heavier than ladies' leather, thus making it an Eris light glove. It's very well received by Bloomingdale's customers.
What was the lining made of again?
Cashmere. It is a 10 gauge knit lining with one strand of cashmere yarn, 100% cashmere.
What is the style or model discontinued at some point?
I believe it was as they approached 1992, as it was extremely difficult to manufacture, and gradually they just phased it out.
So let's just say, assuming you had 10,000 pairs of these gloves, what percentage would you say would probably end up being brown?
30%.
And of that 30%, what size would be extra large? Or how much would be extra large?
Well, 8% of the total would be extra large, not 8% of the 30.
So 8% of the total would be extra large?
Yes.
Alright. So if you had 10,000 units of Eris Isotoner leather light gloves, how many would you say would be extra large in size and brown in color?
About 300?
And of those 300, would you expect to receive any of those shipped back to you guys?
Well, yes, actually. About 100 pairs would be shipped back to the factory.
That leaves about 200 left. Alright. So about how many extra large brown Eris Isotoner leather light gloves would have been sold by Bloomingdale during 1990?
During 1990, there would be around 200 to 240 pairs.
Would you also say that the lot sold to Bloomingdale during 1990 was probably one of the largest lots?
Yes.
How many pairs of extra brown large Eris leather lights would have been sold in 1992?
Around 50 pairs.
What about 83?
Double that.
Twice as much?
Yes, I would say so.
It's about 100.
Mhm.
As the years went on, the color brown and size extra large became quite more rare. Is that correct?
Yes.
Your Honor, if it pleases the court, we have essay trial on the gloves.
Sorry, so we're out.
We're out of time.
I think we have time to try the glove on, and
Boring
then we'll
as
stop
evidence.
for the day.
Forcibly putting it on. There I am. He's really budging. I don't think he can get it on.
The glove doesn't fit, you must be clear.
Your Honor, if it pleases the court, could we have Miss Rubin step down from the witness stand, walk through the well, and have a look at Mr. Simpson's hands? Bro, I didn't tell you to take them off yet.
Sorry. Fine.
Yes, the witness may approach the defendant.
Looking a little bitter.
I don't own his gloves. Take a seat. She stands up and goes to you. Miss Rubin, you've sold thousands upon thousands of leather gloves throughout the world. Is that correct?
Yes, that is correct.
What size glove would you say fit Mr. Simpson's hand?
I'd say large. In some styles, extra large.
Should the gloves shown to you here in court today have fit Mr. Simpson's hands, in your opinion?
At one point in time, yes, I do believe so.
Now, would you expect that the fact that he was wearing latex gloves here today would that inhibit his ability to extend his hand through the glove?
Well, I've never had latex gloves on while I tried on a glove, because that's just not something that you do. But I would believe that it would inhibit, yes, it would inhibit trying them on.
Anything unusual about the way Mr. Simpson put the gloves on, based on your experience?
Well, he appeared to be contorting his hand to make it appear larger.
The gloves you saw, did they appear to be in original condition?
No, they did not.
What was different about them?
Well, it seemed that they have suffered lots of damage through tremendous amounts of liquid, shrinking the gloves.
So the gloves have been shrunk? Or
Yes.
appear to be shrunk?
Yes.
Do you know about how much?
Well, when the leather is subjected to water, it would shrink about 15%.
So now you also told us yesterday that you felt that the defendant's hand was what size? What size did you say?
A large in some styles, extra large in others.
In your review of his hand, is he an extra large?
No.
Are you sure?
Yes.
No further questions.
Alright, witness may step down and we will end court for today, continue on Monday.
That was their best.
Yes, you do.
It's all over.
I know, right?